Went on a date with someone who had a surprising trait, and I'd been single for 6 months when I swiped right on Nora. Her profile was simple. A photo of her laughing in a park, red hair catching the sunlight, and a bio that read, "Lover of books, coffee, and quiet adventures." No red flags, no over-the-top quotes, just enough to make me curious. We texted for a week. Easy banter about favorite novels and the best coffee spots in town. Before she suggested meeting up, "How about Saturday? That little cafe on Elm," she wrote. My stomach did a small flip. I hadn't been on a date since the breakup, and Nora felt like a soft landing. Someone I could maybe let my guard down with. Saturday came fast. I spent too long picking an outfit. Settled on jeans and a sweater, casual but not sloppy, and walked to the cafe with my heart thumping louder than the traffic. It was one of those crisp fall days, leaves crunching underfoot, the air smelling like cinnamon from some nearby bakery. I got there early, snagged a table by the window, and watched the door, nerves buzzing. She walked in at 7:02, right on time if you ignored my paranoia about being stood up. She was prettier than her photo. Freckles dusting her nose, a green scarf looped around her neck, that red hair spilling over her shoulders. She spotted me, waved, and slid into the seat across from me with a grin. "Hey, Sam," she said, voice warm like she'd known me forever. "Hope I didn't keep you waiting." "Nah, just got here," I lied, smiling back. The first few minutes were easy. We ordered coffee, black for her, latte for me. Swapped small talk about the weather, laughed about how we'd both almost tripped over the uneven sidewalk outside. She had this way of tilting her head when she listened, like every word I said mattered, and it made me feel seen, I guess. The kind of seen I hadn't felt in a while. Then it happened. About 20 minutes in, she reached for her coffee, sleeve slipping up her wrist. And I saw it. A scar, not a faint line or a faded mark, but a thick, jagged slash across her forearm, pink and raised like it hadn't been there long. My breath caught. It wasn't just the scar itself. It was the story it hinted at, the kind of story that doesn't come from a clumsy fall or a kitchen mishap. I must have stared too long, because she tugged her sleeve down quick, her smile faltering. "Old War Wound," she said, voice light but clipped, like she'd rehearsed it. She took a sip of her coffee, eyes flicking to the window, and I knew I'd stepped into something I wasn't supposed to see. "Oh," I managed, fumbling for words. "Looks intense. Stupid. Why did I say that?" Her jaw tightened, just for a second, before she shrugged. "Yeah, it's a souvenir from a rough patch. No big deal." She steered us back to safer ground. Asked about my job, graphic design, nothing thrilling. Told me about her gig at a bookstore. But the air had shifted. That scar sat between us like an uninvited guest, and I couldn't shake the questions piling up in my head. What happened? How recent was it? Was she okay? I didn't ask. Not then. The date rolled on. We finished our coffees, split a scone, swapped stories about our worst bosses. She was funny, sharp, the kind of person you could listen to for hours, and I wanted to keep liking her. Really, I did. But every time her sleeve moved, my eyes darted to that hidden line, and my imagination ran wild. Car accident? Surgery? Something darker? I hated myself for it, but I couldn't stop. When we stepped outside, the sun was dipping low, painting the street gold. "This was fun," she said, tugging her scarf tighter. "You free next weekend? There's this indie book fair I was gonna check out." "Yeah, I'd like that," I said, meaning it despite the tangle in my chest. She smiled, gave a little wave, and headed off. I watched her go, red hair catching the light again, and felt off. Not disappointed, not excited, just unsettled. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay there, staring at the ceiling, replaying the date. Nora was everything I'd hoped. Kind, smart, easy to talk to. But that scar gnawed at me. I grabbed my phone, scrolled through her profile again, looking for clues I'd missed. Nothing. Just that park photo. A few others with friends, all normal. I tossed the phone aside, frustrated. It wasn't my business, right? People have pasts. I had mine. The ex who'd ghosted me after 2 years. The therapy bills to prove it. So, why was this tripping me up? By morning, I decided to let it go. She'd tell me when she was ready. Or she wouldn't, and that'd be fine. I texted her about the book fair, kept it light, and she replied with a thumbs up and a heart emoji. Simple. Good. I could handle that. The week dragged, but Saturday rolled around again, and I met her at the fair. A sprawling outdoor thing with tents and stacks of used books. She was already there, browsing a table, wearing a long-sleeved shirt, despite the warm day. No scar in sight. "Hey, you made it," she said, grinning as I walked up. "Ready to nerd out?" "Born ready," I shot back, and we dove in. It was perfect. We haggled over a beat-up copy of The Great Gatsby, debated whether hardcovers were worth the hype, laughed when I accidentally knocked over a pile of paperbacks. She was relaxed, glowing, and I felt myself falling. Not hard. Not yet. But enough to scare me. Enough to make me want more. Then we hit a snag. We were at a food truck, grabbing tacos, when a guy bumped into her. Hard enough that she stumbled, her sleeve catching on the edge of the table. It pulled up, way up, and there it was again. But worse. The scar didn't stop at her forearm. It stretched higher, curling around her elbow, a map of pain I hadn't seen before. She yanked her arm back, face flushing, but not before I caught the guy staring too, his brow creasing. "Watch it!" she snapped at him, sharper than I'd ever heard her. He muttered an apology and shuffled off, but the damage was done. She crossed her arms, hiding the scar, and stared at the ground. "Sorry," she said, quieter. "I'm fine. Just clumsy jerk." "You don't have to apologize," I said, stepping closer. "You okay?" "Yeah." She forced a smile, but it didn't reach her eyes. "Tacos getting cold. Let's eat." We sat on a bench, picking at our food, the easy vibe gone. I wanted to ask. God, I wanted to ask. But her silence was a wall, and I didn't know how to climb it. Finally, she spoke, voice low. "You're wondering about it, aren't you?" I froze, taco halfway to my mouth. Yeah, but you don't have to tell me." She sighed, setting her food down. "It's not a fun story, Sam. You sure you want it?" I nodded, heart pounding. She looked away, fingers tracing the edge of her sleeve. "It's from a fire, 2 years ago. My apartment. Faulty wiring," they said. "I got out, but not fast enough." She paused, swallowing hard. "Burns, skin grafts, the whole mess. This is just the part that shows." My stomach dropped. "Nora, I'm so sorry." "Don't be," she said, quick, almost harsh. "I'm fine now. Mostly. Just hate when people see it and get that look. Like I'm broken or something." "I don't think you're broken," I said. Too fast, too earnest. She glanced at me, surprised, then softened. "Thanks. Most people don't stick around after they hear it. Too heavy, I guess." "I'm not most people," I said, hoping she'd believe it. She studied me, eyes searching, then nodded. "Okay, good to know." The fair went on. We bought a few books, wandered some more. But it was different now. Not bad, just real. She'd let me in a little, and it changed how I saw her. Not fragile, not broken, but strong in a way I hadn't clocked before. When we said goodbye, she hugged me. Quick, light, but enough to make my pulse race. Weeks turned into dates. Coffee became dinners. Dinners became nights at her place or mine. The scar stopped being a mystery and started being her. She'd roll up her sleeves sometimes. Let me see it. Let me trace it once when we were tangled on the couch, her head on my chest. "Does it bother you?" she asked, voice small. "No," I said, honest. "It's you. That's what matters." She smiled, real this time, and kissed me. Soft, slow, like she was letting go of something. I fell then, hard, and didn't look back. Months later, at a family dinner, My sister asked how we met. I told the cafe story, kept it light, but Nora chimed in, grinning. He freaked out over my scar on our first date. Thought I was some badass with a secret. Still do, I said, nudging her. She laughed, and my family did too, but I saw it. The way she glowed, scars and all, and I knew I'd never trade that night for anything.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit that like button and share it with your friends. And if you'd love to see more content like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon so you never miss a new upload. See you in the next video.